try brushing your teeth with the opposite hand of what you would normally use. If it's too easy, you can also balance on one leg at the same time. When you break even the simple routines, you can challenge your brain to strengthen underused nerve cells.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to probably the most awaited Q&A of the Legends of Chess with, well, he's a Chessable semi-finalist, but in our minds, he's a legend already with Anish Giri. Welcome, Anish.
Hi. Thank you.
Okay, so Anish, the whole show is about you interacting with the members of chess24, and we've got some big questions waiting for you. Before we dive into it, just quickly tell us a little bit about today's match. Congratulations on your win against Peter. How did the match go?
Thank you. No, I don't know if if you all followed the match closely, but I thought it was very, very interesting. The first game was quiet, although I had chances, but I didn't see them. In the second game, it was also very quiet, but Peter got into a slightly worse endgame, and he was a little bit slow, a little bit too passive. So I got some grip and eventually won. But in the third game, he came back brilliantly. I think he played a very good game. I mean, I think it was some preparation. It must have been, because I've looked at this stuff. I mean, I played this, people seen the game. I played this h5, h4 push. I've prepared that for sure. But I must have been slightly superficial there, because I thought, White has to open his king side with g takes h4, and it just looks very ugly. Computer says it's okay. Computer says it's around equal. I thought, okay, Black is just doing well. So I might have misjudged it, at least when I checked it back in the day. So, but he continued sort of playing, and then the g file was not at all an issue for him, and I shouldn't have traded bishops, but somehow, basically I just totally outplayed. It was a great game. And I was very happy to win the fourth one, because it wasn't going to be an easy match any longer. So it was very important to win. And fourth game, I managed to at least somewhat confuse him in the opening, because he went astray pretty quickly.
Yeah, he went astray pretty quickly, and this f5.
He was prepared for this. He clearly repeated the file before the game, because he switched to this. But I think takes, bishop e6. Rook e1 might have slightly caught him off guard. I don't know. I mean, queen d7 is still a fine move, I think. But after queen a4, you have to give back the e5 pawn, like allow bishop takes e6, and then let me take on e5, maybe a long castle, bishop e7. And what he did looked actually very, very tempting, bishop d5. You just want to keep the pawn, keep everything. But then I saw this, he missed this long line. It was very important line. So takes, knight c4. This knight takes e5 trick in the end, that's very important, because otherwise Black has, just an extra pawn, and it's doing great.
Yes.
And there's no other way to win it. For example, if I take first on d7, he takes queen takes d7. So I think knight e5 is very important. He missed it. The point is after knight e5, rook e5, rook d1, queen d1, queen e5, queen d8 is mate. I was very happy to find this trick. I mean, especially that
really nice.
Yeah, I think I didn't prepare it, but I was very happy to find it over the board, and he fell for it. So that was very nice for me.
Did you calculate the whole line? Did you calculate the whole line starting from bishop d5?
Yes. I kind of saw it when I played queen a4, yeah. It was important, because, I mean, like I'm a pawn down here, and it's a central fat pawn. If, let's say, we imagine he goes bishop e7 and short castle, or like both, like takes, knight c4, if he would manage to just go bishop e7 and short castle, I am just lost. I mean, he just has
one move.
it is just literally one move. So I had to calculate that it all works out, and fortunately it did. But I mean, I was quite impressed, to be honest, with this third game that he won. I thought that was a great game on his part. Also, I mean, I must have defended awfully, but it was really not so easy pretty early on. I made a mistake pretty early on, I think.
Yeah, I think this was a really beautiful game, and especially coming back from that second round loss in the ending, it was quite impressive. And after the fourth game, after your knight e5, it's impossible to come back in that game. So you were pretty sure at that moment that's kind of a wrap up for the match.
Well, it's never a good way to approach it. I mean, it's never good to start celebrating before you finish.
Yes.
Although, I mean, I thought I'm winning sort of completely, so I was quite happy. But of course, you always have to keep in mind that you're missing some sort of a resource. And so that when that resource shows up, if it shows up, you are ready to continue the fight, because it's sort of a huge mistake to start celebrating prematurely. I mean, celebrating, like mentally, it's a huge mistake.
And tell me, that's great advice, Anish, and totally agree with you on that. Tell me one thing, do you think that in this format, especially going into the Armageddon, it's been a real struggle for for the legends of the event, and we've seen it time and time again. What's your take on this whole Armageddon debate? Should there be a blitz before? Do you believe that your chances considerably increase once you've gone into the Armageddon?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, once you reach Armageddon, you already lost 1 point. Winning in Armageddon is just 2 points instead of 3. So I am never, let's say, like, for example, today, even if I would think that Armageddon favors me against Peter, which is not a given, especially since he could choose the color. But anyway, even if I thought so, for example, if I would choose not to fight with white in the last game, I would give up a point theoretically. So that in itself, in a way, prevents people from going to Armageddon on purpose, because there is you lose something by going there. So I think that solves it this way. At the same time, playing Blitz before would be, I mean, it's too tiring. I'm honestly very surprised why this particular tournament, because I played many Magnus events, why this one has no rest day. I mean, of all the tournaments, you chose the one with the legends to have no rest day. That is very strange and counterintuitive to me. I mean, clearly people are going to be very tired. I mean, it's every day tough matches and 9 in a row. I mean, where do people, like even the young players, where do they play like that? But in particular, the legends, as we call them, players who are a little older, I mean, it is so tiring. I was very surprised. I mean, I don't complain or mind, or it's not a big deal. I mean, like Rustam very nicely said yesterday at some point, he said like, it's just a game. So yeah, it's in a way, it's just a game. So it's, it shouldn't be taken that seriously in a way. But well, speaking of, let's say, formats, it's one thing that surprised me, that there is no rest day here. And given that, let's say, first Magnus Invitational, I remember I was playing it for a month. Like I would play a match, I would have 2 rest days, and I would play another match, and I would have again rest day, then again rest day, and again. And like it was all split by different matches, and now it's all together. And that's interesting. But it's action packed for the viewers at least, so that's fun.
No, but that's a very valid point that you've made, and also. I was watching it when Rustam actually told Peter that it's just a game. But I think for all these legends who are playing and all you guys who are actually playing, it's at that point, it doesn't feel like just a game. It's a lot more. And like you said, that the format is, even though it's a shorter time control, it's probably even a more exhausting format than playing one really long game.
Yes, for sure. Because, first of all, to come back to just a game, of course, partly it's also not true, because it's not just a game when it's your, let's say, profession, and your even if you would take it easy, if you're a professional chess player, in the end of the day, it is your work.
Yes.
So saying it's just a game is anyway not entirely true. Besides that, it's a good point. Well, mainly the point is, if you play one game at a time, you can choose to go energy saving mode, let's say, in particular with the white pieces. You can always, if the opponent sort of plays along. So you see rarely, if the tournament situation is okay, some players they would have these half rest days. Let's say sometimes planned, sometimes not planned. Let's say they start the opening opponent plays what they didn't prepare, and then I think, well, okay, let me take it easy. And within an hour, the game was a relatively low energy game, and it ends in a draw, for example. But here you cannot have that because you have to fight it out to the end.
Yes.
There is no compromise possible. So in that sense, it's more grueling. There is definitely a fight every day to the end. That makes it different.
And in fact, the legends have come on and spoken about how exhausting it is. Totally get your point. All right, before I hijack this Q&A with everything that I want to ask you, Anish, let's go to what the real people who actually matter want to ask you, which are our premium
the
members.
Real people, the bots, yeah? Okay, the bot army, okay.
I am Tanya Bot, yes. All right, so ready for the first one? It's GM Aryan, and GM Aryan says, hello, Anish. After Candidates 2016, you faced different kind of critics regarding draws. How did you overcome it? Was it tough? How do you describe your chess style? And when you entered 2700 club, did you respect higher rated players, much like Kramnik? And how do you approach them playing now? So it's a two-part question. The first one is about post 2016 candidates and the entire moniker that you got after that about too many draws. How did you overcome that, and just what was it tough?
Yeah, well, there are many ways to answer the question. My favorite one is probably to say, if you don't like draws, then chess is not the game for you, because it's part of the game. It's the most likely result between. I mean, it's not the only result; it's the most likely one. So if you don't like draws, you really should play something else, maybe tic-tac-toe or whatever. As for the 2700 barrier and all that, I mean, chess is, especially at the top level, is a fascinating mix between the psychology and chess playing skills and preparation. And they are so intertwined that you cannot separate one from the other. Especially with, I mean, the preparation bit is more relevant to some than to others. But definitely psychology and chess skills, they are completely intertwined. And in a way, when you break through the chess elite, let's say, you need to definitely make some adjustments both in the psychology and in the chess skills and in the preparation. So it was definitely tough at first. I must say, at first I had a bit of a weird entrance, because at first I was going very, very easily, very well. Then I entered 2700 pretty swiftly. Then I even won a top tournament, Reggio Emilia.
Yes.
And that's where I think I slightly, it happens probably to most people, but I slightly overestimated myself, maybe, or I didn't. Anyway, I was way too confident at that point. I was still much too immature to be a proper top player, like top 10 player. But I thought that, okay, now I won a top tournament, so what's going to stop me? And I thought it's going to be quite easy, but I had a cold shower in the next few events. I kept playing way too ambitiously, and my results suffered a bit. And I had to sort of come back around again, go back in the queue and enter that again. This time, much more self-aware and aware of the challenges that the top chess player is likely to face. At the same time, you have these people who manage to break through in one breath, like Kasparov did, Carlsen did, Firouzja might, and some other players did as well. Like, they enter on one breath and they just keep improving, and then almost without anyone telling them that they are not as great as they think they are, they proceed onwards to the point where they actually become great. And it is, I guess they have to be lucky for that to an extent. Or they are better from the start. It's hard to say. But anyway, one way or the other, for me, it was not so easy. But even, let's say now that, that I am more or less established as a top player when it comes to results and rating and so on, still I know that you have to prove that with every game, because as I said, like, if your chess or psychology or prep slightly goes down, you'll be kicked back out. And in order to stay on the same place, you have to run very fast forward. It's a little bit like you imagine a marathon where people are running, and you are, let's say, you keep staying like 10th from the 10 players, for example. But in fact, if you stop running, then like everyone overtakes you. So you have to keep running at a pretty fast pace to just stay where you are. And okay, sometimes you can overtake some people, sometimes not. But it's not like a top player can just sit on his chair and be a top player forever. He has to work every day and every new tournament he has to perform. And Magnus also knows, if he relaxes next tournament, if he has too many holidays on the boat, he's going to be out too, at least from the number one spot. So you can never relax and rest on your achievements.
That's actually an amazing thing to say, Anish. I think like the fact that no matter, like, you're only as good as your last tournament in some ways. And I feel that that's also something that in this event is a very sort of an important concept, because all these players who are playing here, even as chess has been changing and has evolved, it's been really difficult. I'm talking about the legends here. It's been really difficult to keep up with you guys. But to some extent, some of these great players from the past have adapted and evolved and sort of kept going. And like you said, that's really important. Also, the other thing I was thinking about, what you said about the draw thing, is that I feel that you said in chess there are a lot of draws, and that's a normal result, and that's absolutely correct. But also the fact that all your games are actually extremely fighting games. They're not like, how in chess in the earlier times there are these short draws, or you play positions which are dry. It's never been like that. And at the top level, sorry, go on.
Yeah, for sure, that's a good point, but that's in a way irrelevant as well. I mean, it is a relevant point, but it is a relevant point, which is actually in a way irrelevant to, like, look, the thing is here, a few people, they face certain criticism. For example, we take Vishy Anand, for example. That's a good example of he's a legendary player, that achieved everything, and he's a 6-time world champion and whatnot. One of the greatest players of all time. So yet, let's say, for the past, 20 years, people sometimes, some critics, they after a bad tournament, they say, well, Vishy is, for example, too old. Yeah. Well, let's say you can never say that about, for example, Ding Liren. Like, let's say that right now Ding Liren plays badly. Are you going to say Ding Liren is too old? No, you're not going to say that. You're just going to say Ding Liren has a bad tournament, and that's it. And you let him in peace until he comes back in the next tournament. While Vishy, he will be, every time he has a bad tournament, he has to defend, like, and the same thing with the draw thing. Like, there are people, everybody makes a draw, but only I have to be the one replying to that. I mean, let's say Grishuk made 7 draws in a row with me, and then I have to face the conversation while he gets to sleep, you understand, and play tomorrow the next day. So this is just, that makes it just, and whether you are fighting or not, that's not even relevant. Honestly, that's not even relevant.
Yeah.
Some people are not fighting and they don't get any criticism, and sometimes they, like, well, all top players are fighting, not every day. I mean, the greatest, funkiest player sometimes who just feel it's not their day, and in fact, they afford it much more often than others. Because, for example, I know if I will come to a game in Vaikanze tournament with white, and make a quick draw in half an hour, I'm never going to hear the end of it. While some players, they have a reputation as some kind of geniuses, and then they know, well, they can do that, and nobody will say anything.
No one.
So in a way, this only pushes me to. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it motivates me more. Sometimes, of course, also it damages me to an extent, because I have, let's say, more pressure on me than others because of that.
Yeah, and at your level, I mean, draw is a more probable result than any other result. So after listening to that, I think
it really kind of sucks. I mean,
it sucks.
The odds are high that odds are high that you're gonna make a draw. And if every time you make a draw, you feel bad about it, I mean, maybe do something else. That's really not.
No, I get your point. I think that's a very valid point, Anish. But kudos to you for taking all that on and just still being at the very top, not letting it get to you. Just the banter that you put out. I think lots of respect for you for that. Let's move on to the next question, Anish, and that's by Antonym1. And he says, why do you think the French and Caro-Kann aren't as popular at the top level compared to things like the Naidov or the various e4, e5 lines? Do you believe these openings are inherently less sound?
Well, that's going to change, because Erwin Lamy produced a great course on the Caro-Kann for the Chessable.
I love it.
And I am going to produce a wonderful course for Chessable on the French. So that's going to change. That said, well, I can tell you the reasons. The modern engine starts off in the French, for example, in the Wiener French, depending on the engine, but let's take, I don't know, let's take Fat Fritz as a good example. If you take this engine called Fat Fritz, it's a very strong engine, a neural network engine based somewhat on AlphaZero and Lila0. But let's say, I take it because Lilas have too many different networks, but let's say Fat Fritz is a little bit slower in development. So let's take that. If you take a Berlin or a Marshall, the starting position is assessed at, let's say, 0.22, let's say, or let's say, yeah, let's say 0.22. If you take a starting position at Najdorf, it's going to be assessed at 0.24. But if, let's say, you take a starting position of the Wiener, it's going to be assessed at 0.43, let's say. And as a professional, you are trying to make sure there is no part of your repertoire where the engine is going to say an evaluation bigger than, let's say, 0.20, because that's the mark where the engine says it's equal. So if you are going to play Berlin and analyze Berlin, it's going to be much easier to just make sure that all the moves in your files, all the points in your analysis file is basically approved by the computer. While with the French or the Caro-Kann, you're going to have these moments where the engine will say it's 0.40 by 5 different moves, and you have to make sure that all the moves, you don't have to, you can just say it's fine, I'm going to play it. But as a professional chess player, as someone who prepares, you want to make sure that it's not bad. So you sort of check it. And why the engine says that? That's because, quite simply, the openings might be slightly inferior to Sicilian and the Spanish, but that only means that the path you will have to walk is narrower at the highest level. Like, let's say when two engines play, and let's say they play a Najdorf, at some point there's going to be black will have 3 different paths to equality. And then the next move, again, he'll have 2 different paths on for equality. While let's say if you play the French, at some point you will just have 2 or just 1 option. Let's say in the Wiener, which I'm going to do a video on, there are some lines where you have to make like, I mean, from move, let's say 5 till move pretty much 30 or 40, you have to make almost like pretty much only moves, not to end up in trouble. That is not to say the opening is incorrect, because it is correct, because by the end of this journey, you will have equality. But the path that you have to walk is much more narrow. Yeah. Now, while all that is absolutely irrelevant for a club player or even for a top player, but top players, they wish to think they're close to the computer. But let's say for a club player, it's absolutely irrelevant. The path you have to walk, like no matter how wide or narrow, you're going to make mistakes on every single move. Just let it go, you know? And that's why for amateur, it's not important how correct these openings are. Well, of course, it's bad to have an incorrect opening altogether. Let's say there are some dubious variations, I mean, that are really dubious. For example, if you play a Scandinavian with Queen e6 check, let's say, that's probably awful. And then the problem is one of your opponents will prepare with the engine. He will show the refutation. So there are openings that have refutation. Caro-Kann and French don't have refutation, but they just force black to play much more only moves. But that's only relevant in analysis or in a top level game, again, between 2 very well prepared opponents who are in good shape too. But basically for an amateur or club player, is absolutely irrelevant. I mean, you play the French or the Caro-Kann is great.
Even more than a club player, I would say that the problem that you are talking about these in these lines are probably up till about 2600 level to play these lines is...
No, but in fact, Tanya, they are theoretical. They're not real problems, and they are not even real problems. Even at the top level, they are not so much of a practical issue as a theoretical one. You just, as a top player, you will just sleep less good, thinking that, you know, your Wiener is going to be shaky. But in fact, if you repeat your file, nothing's going to happen. And also, especially if you use the surprise. That's why you see these openings used as surprise weapons so much at top level. And it's really a theoretical issue, not a practical one at all.
I was just about to say that even at the top level, when it comes to these must-win situations or these blitz where you know you want to pose, you know, quick questions to your opponent who doesn't have the time to find everything, we often find the very best in the world using these offbeat lines to exactly do that. So like you said, it's about having a narrower path and you don't have so much buffer.
Exactly. It's very much actually about the comfort zone for top players. I mean, essentially it is about your own comfort zone. And there is some theoretical reason for why neither for the Spanish is so-called better than the French or Caro-Kann. But in practice, it's more to do with the comfort zone. And that, again, that also makes no sense, because in practice, you see sometimes positions in the Berlin or the knight or that actually you don't have to walk such a narrow path. You have, let's say, 5 options, but you pick the 6th and make a mistake and lose anyway. So in a way, it's just a psychological thing that stops many players. But for example, in the candidates, we saw Vinaver being played more than once. We see Caro-Kann come up time and again in the World Championship match. Magnus played it against Vishy Anand once. So this all, it's a comfort zone thing, and also you need to put in more work into it to play it on a high level than the Berlin, because the Berlin already you just watch Kramnik's games and you are ready.
Yes. Yeah, so there you have it, Antonym. You can go for the French or the Caro-Kann or whatever you want. Just make sure you pick up Anish and Erwin's
exactly.
course.
It's a very long commercial. That was too long, I think. I think the punchline is good, but the commercial was way too long. It's okay.
All right, let's move on to the next question. I think you're going to like this one. It's by Sayonan. I think Sayonan has also been on your streams.
She's a moderator on my YouTube channel, so that's going to be a great question for sure.
I have been a moderator on your YouTube channel.
You are, yeah, actually.
All right, so Sayonan wants to know, if you had the power to change one thing in the chess world, what would it be? I love it. Just one thing.
This is just one thing.
Well done, Sayonan, with that question. You got Anish thinking. That's not often.
Wow, no, I never thought of it like that. You know what? It's not a big issue. It's not a big issue, but maybe to solve it once and for all and not have a question. It's honestly not a big issue in top events, but maybe I don't know how, but let's say to ensure that there is no false play or cheating or doping ever. It's not an issue right now. I really don't think so. Certainly not in any of the events, top events, because there is no incentive there. It's just it just makes no sense. I know the players individually and so on, but maybe just once and for all, because in the long run, it could be an issue when hosting major tournaments, when technology is advancing so fast, and there are all sorts of, earpieces and whatnot. And also doping is not, they do look for doping too, but they look for a wrong one. I mean, I imagine, I never really looked into it, but there are, of course, these, for example, pills that students use for exams, or before exams to work more, like to work harder. Students do that sometimes, some kind of enhancement of whatever it is. I imagine there could be also some chemicals that enhance your memory or whatever, concentration or whatnot. So I would, it's not an issue that bothers me at all at the moment, but maybe just once and for all to have that out of the way would be nice. And then I think for the rest, we're doing not so badly.
Okay, that's also really nice, because probably for the elite, this will probably never be a problem, because all you guys are, I think it would never come up. But in all these major tournaments where, it matters to so many people, and it's also a way to earn livelihood for so many people.
And also so many are paranoid, I know so many grandmasters who are paranoid because they just lose, I mean, I see them, sometimes I watch some famous grandmaster play, for example, on stream, and he gets outplayed by someone because he just played a bad game, and he starts to accuse the other player of cheating. I mean, I am 99% sure that in that game it was not cheating, and I can even explain to the grandmaster why he got outplayed, and it was all human and all that. But just to have that out of the way would be not so bad, I think.
Makes sense. All right, that's a nice answer. Donald the Duck has another question for you.
Okay,
and he's
Magnus in the house. Okay, so.
You think Donald the Duck is actually Magnus?
I mean, one of his many troll accounts.
Okay. So he says, "Hi Anish, you're one of the funniest guys that I know plays top level."
Okay, that's definitely Magnus. Definitely Magnus. So okay.
How do you maintain such a humorous attitude towards everything at the highest and most stressful levels of chess? And
so he's a friend after all. He's a friend after all. No, well. Yeah, but why not? I don't have like a particularly many worries or reasons to not be, to not be sort of happy. So that I'm not the right person to sort of ask, because there are people who are facing lots of challenges in life, and they do remain, joyous and all that, and that is impressive. In my case, it's really not. But I think humor always helps. Again, it's nothing to do with me, but in general, it always helps, not in all situations. I mean, to relieve awkward situations, to improve your mood, and smiling also helps sense all kinds of chemicals to your brain and all that. It's all proven. So it is very very good and beneficial to enjoy life, actually.
Yeah. And I also think the thing about good humor or having a good attitude, it's not only good for you, but it's also good for the people around you. So you're you're being able to spread that. So that's great. The next question is from Kramnik student. I still don't know if he's actually a Kramnik student, but maybe he studied Kramnik's games and stuff like that.
I think we are all Kramnik students in some one way or the other.
I think we're all Kramnik student. You're right. You're right. So we all have this question for you. And actually, I think this is a very important question, Anish, because I feel this is a problem that a lot of us have, a lot of chess players have. And he says, hello, Anish, I'm rooting for you to win the Legends of Chess tournament. I hope he doesn't specify if he's talking about the round robin portion or the actual finals, though. So he
means the finals, but it's okay. So
I think so too. Okay. Hope to see another victory dance from you. Good luck. I'm facing significant trouble in converting a winning game. Can you advise some methods or a book which one can refer to improve this? Because Anish, I think one of the most difficult things in chess is to actually win a winning position.
Yeah, it is. It is also, I believe, objectively a difficult thing to do. Besides it being psychological in many cases, it is also purely chess-wise most difficult thing to do, because when you have a good position and you have to build up an advantage, very often you have many moves to do that. You have, let's say, 5 good moves. But more often than not, when you have a winning position, like, okay, first of all, the definition of a winning position is very vague. For example, if the engine says more than +3, that's winning. But like, there are winning positions that are won, let's say, anyhow, with many different moves. That are just completely won. And okay, those, to be able to win those, you just have to, it's just basic, if it's endgames, it's endgame technique. So you have to be able to possess some skills of calculation. In endgames, it's very important to know what you aim for. For example, you should know if, for example, you can convert into a pawn endgame, or a rook endgame, you should know the position you are aiming for. Let's say you have a rook and 2 pawns against rook and 1 pawn. You should be able to know when to trade that pawn, under what circumstances and things like that. So you should know these basic positions that you are aiming for. That's when it comes to endgame. But when it comes to winning games, so those that are just completely winning, yeah, well, you should be able to win them somehow. Just maybe don't get too nervous or whatever it is. But there are many cases when position is winning objectively, but the way to do that,
position.
Well, not better. It is winning, but it's just winning due to a sequence of only moves. And then it's very hard to win that winning position, because often to achieve that position, you had many options on the way. But once you are there, that final blow has to be delivered, and there is no other way. You have to find that particular final blow, calculate that exact one line. And it's always much harder to calculate something where there's only one answer, rather than, let's say, it's much harder to find one win than to find one of the 5 good moves, right? So sometimes winning position is, well, it is literally the hardest thing just by definition, because you have to find the only move. And then it's just hard. I mean, then it's just, okay, good luck, just work hard and good luck. It's just difficult.
Yeah, I think this question by Kramnik student, I think this is something that is a problem for every player at every level.
Yeah, also, it's a little bit like that thing that I was saying about, it's like you're going to not convert winning positions like every second day, whoever you are. So just let it go. It's not you, it's the game. I mean, you can watch take any player. You can take Magnus, for example. He didn't convert that game against Ivanchuk where he blundered mate. Or he didn't convert the game against Vishy Anand in the first game. He had the advantage of +2 or something in the end game.
It's a very good example, yeah.
And I took Magnus because to show you that there is no exception to the rule, to actually as a praise for him, because if anyone, it would be him, you would think, who wins everything. Yes. But even he doesn't win literally everything. Yes. So it's just, it's like, yeah, you know, the chess is tough. There's going to be draws. There's going to be not you're not going to win winning positions, but okay, enjoy it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not you, it's the game. I love it. Okay.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. It's correct.
Okay. Words of wisdom by Anish. Henry Hine is just saying, hello, Anish. Very simple. I wish you the very best. Also in chess, in life and in chess.
Thank you.
I like this next question. It's by Back to Attack. And Back to Attack says, hello, Anish. If you had the chance of a 1-month training camp with a chess player of your choice, including the historical chess players, what would be your choice and why?
Well, including historical chess players is good, because otherwise I had pretty much, I had asked myself that question before the candidates that I played. I had the 1-month camp and which players I would have liked to have but yeah, the historical makes it much more interesting. You can answer the historical one, but I also want to hear your other answer. But you can answer the historical yeah,
one.
no, but I have actually had once a short session with Garry Kasparov, so I think well, honestly, I would be very, very, very concerned to have one with Bobby Fischer. I mean, I wouldn't know, you know, like, because when you spend 1 month with anyone, there's going to be some sort of, you know, your social interaction goes to the next level. So it becomes much more intense. And I would be really wondering how I would get along with Bobby Fischer. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty difficult person, and Bobby Fischer is as hard as it can get. But yeah, well, I mean, many of these great champions of the past, I would be curious to know what they are, but it would be different than having a training camp now, because right now we mostly work with the engines. The input of a human is so incredibly limited right now. I mean, it's really, you are navigating an engine, and it's very important to navigate the engine and know where to, you know, which direction to take, speak of concepts and all that. But in terms of getting to know a player, you of course get to know someone much better, not through a training session as it is now. Because right now your work is centered around the computer with the engine and all that. But I would be very curious to know people, you know, great players from the past, like Bobby Fischer. Also, Alexander Alekhine is one of my favorite players. I would also be curious. And what would be also really fun? You know what would be the most fun, actually? The most fun would actually be to spend time with a younger version of someone I know. So, for example, with Vishy or Vladimir Kramnik, because I know them very well right now. I know them extremely well as they are now. I know them inside out pretty much. But I would want to see how were they different, and what were they like, you know? So I think I would absolutely love to have a session with the young Vishy or young Vladimir Kramnik. That would be just incredible.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
Yes. No, that would be for me very interesting, because I would be able to compare, and I would be like at some point laughing, and I'd be like, yeah, Vishy, you're really not going to think like this in 20 years. No, really. You really wouldn't be so happy here. And, you know, things like that. I think that would be very interesting for sure.
Also, because like you said, when you're spending a month with somebody, you have to have a certain level of rapport. You need to get on with the person. And because you know these guys right now, and there's such a good equation with them, back then it would be a lot of fun, no? To hang out with them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, with young Vishy, you would say like, yeah, I'll probably never become world champion. I'd be like, you know, you are so wrong. You're so wrong. You want to become world champion 6 times.
You have no idea.
You have no idea. And then Kramnik would be like, yeah, you know, I was... this looks so tough. This is so difficult. I said, no, Vladimir.
I just never beat Kasparov ever in my life, and then
yes, exactly. And I'm like, you know, when you will be winning in all of your games in the future. Just wait, and the time will come. But yeah, it would be very interesting to go back in time and work with the younger versions of players I know. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, it would. And you were saying that you actually thought about this even before the candidates. So what was?
I had to have a 1-month training camp with some players. The thing about, well, actually, not exactly. The thing about these candidates, or in general, working with someone, I think I would be really hesitant to work with another top 10 player, because, I mean, I can work with another top 10 player. It's not a problem. I mean, I never worked with Magnus, but he invited me a few times, and he's invited many other players, and they all worked. but then it becomes some sort of a weird, game in which you are trying to get to know something, keep something behind, give him less than you take, take more than you give, and it becomes kind of a weird poker game where you. I imagine these training camps between, like, I don't know, Magnus and Levant, for example, must have been really, really very weird, because in the back of the mind they always keep that rivalry going. It would, however, be fascinating to, in alternative reality, once have a training session with a player like Magnus or Fabiano or Ding Liren or any of the top 10 players in alternative reality, to have like a training session with fully open cards, and to really talk about chess the way you never spoke about it before, but then go back into this reality and forget all of that, because that would, I mean, you have to always have that guard on, and once you drop that, I mean, the psychology becomes something you can no longer overcome. It's like you've seen the other person naked, so you never want to, you never want to drop your guard.
That sentence.
Yeah.
No, I completely get that when there's rivalry and there's competition, it's and if you go into a training session, it kind of changes the dynamic in a really big way.
Well, not really, but that's not the kind of training session I would really love to have. I would love to have one where you would be totally open, but then I know that's not possible because I just wouldn't want to do that, and my other top 10 colleagues is also not going to do that. So that's just gone. And even when I have a session with, even when I had it with Vidit, okay, that time he was much weaker player, much lower rated at least. Still, okay, we were quite open with each other, but I imagine still there are a few things you withhold back, like not on purpose, not like particular lines, but particular thoughts. Like you don't say out loud all what you think.
So it's hard to be 100% honest. And then when you're working with somebody, you kind of need that honesty and trust as well.
Yeah, that's why I think it helps when, let's say, for Magnus, he has Peter Heine that he can, or not, or he doesn't. I don't know what their work dynamic is, but some people probably keep it all in themselves, but some have the trusted coaches that they really tell stuff they think about. It's quite interesting. For sure.
Okay. Moving on to the next question, Anish. It's by Against the Pieces. And he says, oh, this is nice, because this is, Anish, something that came up in the commentary today, which Jan brought up as well. And it says, dear Anish, you're often compared to Peter Lecco. Deep preparation, high percentage of draws, a tendency to play correctly, if not safely, and to never burn bridges. What do you think of this assessment? Is the level of risk in your games deliberately chosen in order to make your performance optimal?
I think the first part of the question is probably incorrect. I mean, we have to make a estimate on this percentages. Yeah, I mean, I know mine. I don't know about Peter. I know my percentages by heart. I don't have high draw percentage. My draw percentages are lower than some of my colleagues. They're not standing out. They're neither high nor too low. They're just normal percentages. I would guess with Peter is the same, honestly. I would be surprised if maybe, I really don't know. I haven't followed his career as closely. Of course, I know his career highlights. I know his best games and all that. But I haven't followed his career that closely to tell if he actually ever had a higher draw percentage than his colleagues. What we do have in common is that he was also getting a lot of criticism for so-called whatever it is, I don't really know for what, but let's say for making draws, which everybody makes, but whatever. And in that sense, also Petrosian was known for that. He was also getting, in fact, I read recently, not so recently actually, I read a remarkable article purely by accident by Petrosian. He was publishing articles, in some, I think in newspaper or something. He published a bunch of articles. They made it into a book, and they gave this book at the Petrosian Memorial. And I haven't played there, but somehow I got the book nonetheless. And in that one of the articles, he talks about how before he became a world champion, he at some point wanted to quit chess because of all the people, and there was no social media back then. I think it was on newspapers, of all the criticism that he makes too many draws or whatever. So basically they got into Petrosian's head through newspapers, and he wanted to quit chess. Can you believe that? He wanted to quit chess, and he did not. And then he became a world champion after that, which is insane. But yeah, there are a few people in history that are getting bullied. Also, Kramnik was getting bullied for drawing, but then he now he's getting bullied for that he's playing for a win all the time. But
I don't know if you're aware of this, Anish, but I don't think anyone can bully you. I think you're the bully.
No, bully. Yeah, no, bullied. I mean, like, inside the brackets. I don't mean literally bullied.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
No, but I'm not a bully. You know, Tanya, I can tell you one thing. I'm not a bully, and I know what makes a bully and what's the difference between a bully and not a bully.
I'm joking.
No, but seriously, it's important. Bullying is an important topic. I want to discuss that.
Okay,
so
let's
bully
discuss it.
Is someone who goes after a week. So let's say you have in a class, of schoolmates, whatever, children. You have, let's say, one kid who is, for example, slightly socially awkward, for example. Or, for example, he is the smallest one. He's half a year younger than the rest, and he is the youngest. So bully is going to be the one who is going to target that guy. See, I have never, ever done that. I've always stood up for that guy. And I'm never going to do that. I might so-called bully one of the other guys who's big. But it's not bullying, you understand? The bullying is when you gang up against a small guy and do that. So that's important for me. So I never, and also I have a policy of never kicking a man when he's down. I never do that myself.
You're bullying me for calling you a bully right now.
No, but you are, you are not, you are on a horse, on a high horse.
I get what you mean.
Tanya
what
herself.
you're saying is that you are championing a cause or something. If you believe in something, you will only fight somebody who can fight back. But a bully is somebody who will pick on people who can't fight back.
Exactly. Or they will hit when they know that the person cannot hit back, or when they will hit when the person is down. For example, figuratively speaking, when the person is tied up, they will start to kick him, not when he can kick back. So I think that's important for me in terms of bullying. As for this comparison with Peter Liko, again, it's mostly that. As for style, well, let's say there are. It's not so much the style of a person is not so much it exists, but it's very much influenced by a particular shape. So especially in my case, I think I can sometimes, when I'm in a bad shape, I can start to play more defensively than other times. With Peter Liko as well, he is of a school of thought of players who like to win without counterplay. For example, if you see his game, he beat me today in game 3. It was a wonderful game. It was very well played, very strongly played. He hasn't made a single mistake. He has not sold his position to short at any point. But it was a signature game of his because there was no opportunity at which I could have counterplay. And you could even see it, for example, in decisions like c4, c5, when he pushed the pawn. There was no need to do that, but he did it to make sure that there is nothing. I'm not going to jump knight d6. I'm not going to take it. So he does like more than some others to win without allowing counterplay. Yeah. So in that sense, I also really like that. And one of my it's one of my favorite topics in chess, the prophylaxis. One of my definitely something I really like to spot a good prophylaxical move. I think I enjoy that, and I think many do, and Magnus is also like that. But people start to mix results with style, with mindset, with shape. They bring it all together. For example, Magnus never gets called out for anything because of the results. The results are so good. They overwhelm the mental, everything else. So, but yeah, it's very hard for people because chess is a very difficult game. It's a really, really hard game. To be able to understand it, you need to spend, you need to be gifted, and you need to spend years. And once you make that, you can start to discuss these issues. We can discuss playing style of Peter Liko, Magnus Carlsen, and so on. But we can do it only I would only like to do it in a very small group of people, with people who really understand what they talk about, and they wouldn't start to mix rumors, reputation, shape, results, style all together. We can discuss the style, but then let's just discuss the style, and let's look at the games, at the examples, and so on. And but yeah, many people who talk about it, they have no idea what they talk about. That's the main issue I have.
Okay, interesting. So the only thing in common between you and Peter, it sounds like, is that both of you are great chess players.
Is a wife called Sophie as well, yeah.
Yes. That's the best segue that you could have given me for the next question by Bamboozled. And Bamboozled says, "Hi, Anish, you're married with children.
Child.
You've got one child, right?
No,
Yeah.
I'm married. Yes, one child.
Yeah. So you're married. Yes, Anish has got one child, Danny. So you're married with one child. So you're already a success. Do you think being married has also helped you in your chess career? Best regards and good luck with your remaining games."
Yeah, in terms of biological purpose of human on the planet, my life has been a success. You mean like that or what? But yeah, I think if you look at the different top players, and you look at their family situation and their career, you see that there is no clear connection there. In some cases, marriage sort of helped the career, so-called. In some cases, disrupted briefly. In some cases, maybe destroyed. I don't know such cases, but maybe there are cases where marriage destroyed somebody's career. I don't know. But as for my personal case, well, it's hard to say. Some of my very good results were before, some after. Probably most after. But I mean, it's natural that, let's say, I'm growing as a person and as a player. Since I'm married early, I would sort of continue growing past my marriage too. I mean, I don't think in particular, given my family situation and how the role I play in the family and the amount of time I get to study chess, I would say that my family situation probably does not have a huge impact on my chess career, because I still make insane amount of hours with chess. And let's say the amount of time I spend with my family, it's taken away from watching movies, or it's taken away from surfing the internet. It's not taken away from my chess time. So in that sense, I think in my personal case, the impact my family had on my career is limited. Though that said, in general, I think, as I'm a person who likes some degree of control, confidence, and achievements and all that, I think it probably helps me to have a family, to know that I am on the right track there, and that I don't have to, start looking for a family and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also nice, Anish, to have like a partner who's also a strong chess player, and at least who understands all that goes into the game and what it requires of us.
For sure.
I think that helps a lot, no?
Definitely. I mean, it's possible the way around. I mean, it's possible to have a wife who doesn't understand at all what chess is about. There are many cases. It's fine. It's also possible to have an in between. I imagine. I watched some interviews of Ishi Anand and Aruna. Aruna Anand as well, and what the impression I got, at least from their interview, is that she has entered the chess world, let's say, Vishy's life as someone who had no clue about chess, but by now she sort of understands. Besides, okay, she is probably still not a great chess player, but she understands all the intricacies of what chess life is like. Yeah, what preparation is like, what it is to lose, what it is to win. She has seen it all. So in a way, it's also possible to be not a chess player, yet at some point to reach that level of understanding of what professional chess life is, which is what happened in Vishy's case. I guess that's what I got from the interviews of them. But yeah, in my case, it's really huge. I'm really happy that, let's say, I play the game and my wife sort of understands everything, what happened, and she understands what I feel like, how I feel like. She understands what went wrong, and that's definitely nice. But I imagine for some people, I mean, to give the other side of the story too, some people I imagine they could say that it's nice that when they're with their wife, they not going to talk about chess because like they cannot, so they will be forced to rest from chess. I imagine that's also a plus. Let's say if you cannot talk about chess with your wife and you're going to spend time with your wife, you're going to, well, this way to force you to rest from chess. Maybe that's also good. That maybe, but that's not my case. But each is on. And mostly when you choose your wife, honestly, I think you don't look at whether she plays chess or not. I think you look at many other factors. So
that's some solid relationship.
No, I'm talking a lot now about it. I'm talking too much about it because we've just been on stream with my friends, with Vidit and Timur, and apparently Adiban is looking for a wife.
Adiban has been looking for a wife since he was 10 years old.
No, but Tanya, it's serious now. It's for real. His parents are looking for a wife. So it's serious now. Which
And
is
now
why this
Adiban
topic...
doesn't have, Anish, Adiban doesn't have the excuse of leaving for tournaments anytime soon because of the whole situation. So he really has to get into it now.
Exactly. So,
Can't run away.
but yeah, this is why this topic is so fresh in my head, because we've just been talking about it, and it's left an impression on me, and I keep thinking of Adiban and his future wife, which is why I've touched a bit delved too much into this topic. But yeah.
All right. The producer's also laughing. Okay, let's move on from that. But actually, before we do, funny conversation.
No, we cannot move on from this.
We cannot.
We can just sort of start all over. Yeah, we cannot move on from Adiban's wife. But yeah.
This question wins the show. Agreed. But also, we were talking about on this show, Jan and Rustam were discussing that actually, as far as chess is concerned, again, similar to your thought, but in a funny way, that probably Leela has more influence on your chess than Sopiko.
I saw it on my Instagram in the break. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw it. But Rustam brought a good point that Sopiko has been around longer. But in general, it's interesting the impact the chess engines have on your chess understanding, and that is remarkable because the best we can do as top players is to learn from the strongest engine. But for example, let's take an example of Rybka, which was a great engine, and she was rated around maybe, I don't know, 3,000 Rybka was rated, let's say. By trying to understand chess as well as Rybka, you would still push yourself from your 2700 level towards that 3,000. So that learning from Rybka was always beneficial because you would understand chess better than your peers, or at least go there, you understand? Like, that said, you would still be imperfect because you would understand certain things the way Rybka understands, but it turns out that there is a Stockfish, for example, which is rated 3,300, and it would understand things much better. So as the engines have grown, so did the understanding of players, in particular those who work a lot with the engine. I mean, all players work with the engine, but some more than others. And in my case, I think I'm one of the players who work the most with the engine. And I don't have to know how many hours others did. I just know my hours, and I am sure it is a lot. So in my case, my understanding, okay, like of course, by studying chess with 3,000 rated engine, you don't become 3,000 rated, or your understanding doesn't get there, but it gets a little bit closer. So it gets a little bit better. But as every new engine came by, it's shown us that the previous one was not perfect, here and there. But you could never see it ourselves because we are much weaker. So in a way, what it is like, it's like if, imagine, Tanya, some amateur comes to you and tells you, Tanya, what is this position? And you will tell him, well, my friend, white is better. In fact, black will be better, and you know it. But you can sort of lie him that white is better, and he will not be able to prove it. He will say, yeah, but I think black is better. It's okay, show. He'll make a move with black. You will outplay him because you're much stronger. So in a way, that amateur has to take your word for... He just has to take your word for it, you understand? So the same way, chess player has to take the engine's word. Like, we can never prove the engine wrong. We can only wait for the next engine to prove the other engine wrong. But it is still fascinating how every new engine evolves our understanding of chess and pushes it a little bit higher, which is, I believe, is why I do believe that players of nowadays are stronger than the players of the past, based on that.
Players nowadays are stronger, you're saying, than the players from the past?
Yeah, I mean, in absolute terms, let's say level-wise.
Okay, interesting. Because of how much the engines have improved over time and what they've got.
Yes, because obviously we've had more information to access, and yes. I mean, the same way, let's say a scientist nowadays knows more than Einstein or Newton and so on. Like, I mean, not to belittle Einstein and Newton who are made breakthroughs. The same way, I believe that, let's say, chess played right now should be of a higher level than chess played in the 90s or earlier. I think it has to be the case. I mean, there can be some good games, but I'm sure, if I haven't done it, but I'm sure if we do a detailed research on with the engine on average centipoint loss or whatnot, it will appear that these modern players are stronger. Although the time control plays a big role too. Back then they played with a slower time control, so it could also have an impact.
The only thing that I'm taking from this entire topic is that regardless of how much time you've spent with Ripka or with Leela, it doesn't come close to the amount of time that you've spent with Sopiko. And that's the only answer that I'm giving to Bamboozle. Let's move on, Anish. Otherwise, you'll be joining this Zoom call for your next game.
You are doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
I feel like there's a
make
bus
sure
coming.
that
Is there
after
a
the
bus
interview,
coming?
because my wife is there outside the door, to make sure that I'm
Brownie
accepted
points
well.
for me.
Yes. No, you just I just gave a very wrong answer, and you brought it back to the point that I should have made. Yes, I spend much more time with my wife than with Leah. That's very important, and I forgot about it. So thank you for making, for fixing my mistakes and making sure that my family
I'm just
evening will
trying to
proceed.
get your priorities right.
Thank you. No, definitely.
All right, next question.
Leela cannot cook such delicious meals and whatnot. Many things
Or look
Leela
that
cannot do.
beautiful.
Many things Leela cannot do. Yes.
Let's go on. Next question is by Asen Raymaster. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrongly. And he says, hello, Anish. Which chess player inspired you the most when you started playing chess as a kid? And can you explain why?
Honestly, I do not think I was a case of, you have many players who started because of a hero, right? I don't think I was that case. I think I started because of the game itself, and I liked aspects of the game. Of course, as I got introduced to chess and I learned about different players, they've become my heroes. So Garry Kasparov was a huge hero, of course.
Growing up. Would you say Gary
yes.
had... So which
yes,
player
but I'm not the case of, let's say, for example, so many children in India got into chess because of Vishy Anand. That was not the case for me. It's not like I got into chess because of Garry Kasparov. But of course, as I got into chess and I started studying all the, reading all the books, and they're all saying how great all these players are, and they're showing their beautiful games. I liked many. One of actually perhaps a rare answer. I mean, next to all these great champions that you get to hear about, one of the favorite players I had was Richard Reti, because I had a book, very pretty book with very beautiful cover of his. Sort of like, some kind of learn chess or whatever it is, like a general book where he was teaching some chess. And I thought that book was fascinating. First of all, the Reti, the studies, with this king catching two pawns at the same time. And also this hyper-modern openings of allowing your opponent to take control of the center and then breaking it, like this knight f3, d5, g3, which is a Reti, which is, by the way, what I played today twice as well. This book of Reti was quite inspirational in some extent. Other than that, all the usual, the usual suspect, Kasparov, Tal, Alekhine, all the great players. And
right. Okay. Moving on to the next question, Anish, by Doopy Loopy. And Doopy Loopy says, hello, Anish. My question is, what do you think helped you the most to get to a very high level at a very young age? What was that overreaching factor? I'm sure there were a lot of things, Anish, that combined to make you a strong chess player at a young age. But if you had to point out that one overreaching factor, what would it be?
Yeah, I would think probably working a lot with the, the universal answer would be spending a lot of time on chess. But in my particular case, I think the huge steps that were made was to work a lot with the engine, for sure. Not alone, obviously. I was helped, in particular with Vladimir Tryslov. We worked really a lot, and he helped me to work with the engine the right way. Especially back then, it was a bit harder. Nowadays, the engines are better; it's easier. Back then, you had to push them further, and he taught me to do that. Although I always liked it, he still pushed me further in that. And the other thing is, it definitely helped me as a kid to play a lot of games online. But I don't think that was, in my case, that was the main thing. But it definitely helped me a lot. I played a lot of online games, a lot of online blitz as a kid. I think that was definitely very helpful. Though in my case, honestly, compared to many other players, I had a relatively universal upbringing. I had a lot of books as well, a very diverse way of learning chess. But you have players, let's say, who, for example, Hikaru is famously only playing online all his childhood and all his early years, and that made him a player he is. It's a great top player. With Magnus, I think probably the consumption of books was the main factor, I guess. I guess he was consuming books. I think that was his. But yeah, I don't know. Probably with Magnus also it's quite varied. Probably also a lot of practice. But yeah, any chess is good. Any chess is good.
Okay, the next question is by Why Must I Lose to This Bogues? I think you might like that username, directed towards a certain Maxi book on chess24. All right, and Why Must I Lose to This Bogues is asking, who is your favorite chess player from history and why?
Yes, no. So as I, as I said already, of course, I'm not very original in that. I mean, I've read the same books you all read, and these books have portrayed and shown so many great games of all the players. So probably I would just have to go with the usual answer. Probably Garry Kasparov. He had many good games. I'm, by the way, curious to see also, because I get to see nowadays the modern top players, let's say Fabiano or Levon or Dingliren or Magnus, of course. I get to see them like fully, right? I watch them every day. I see their good games, bad games. I see the bad in the good games, the good in the bad games. I see their time spending. I see their body language. I see them. I would be really curious to see all of Kasparov or Botvinnik or Tal, like to see them as well as I see these players, because all I know about Kasparov, honestly, of course I know his best games. I know his own perspective because I've read his books. I know perspectives of, let's say, Jan Timman. I would be curious to see, let's say, Kasparov, every day, watch him play and live through his time. I think that would be very interesting, because what you get to see from books is just, it lacks some dimensions, I feel.
Anish, you're saying your favorite player is basically Vidit Gujarati.
Correct. No, I think we should do the Q&A, basically forget all what I say and just this. Yes. No, you sum it up all perfectly. So far, very good.
Okay, thank you. Let's go on to the next question by Thomas R. And because Thomas R's question is again around your style of play, I'm going to miss that part and come to the last bit, which I think is interesting, that he says, do you agree that your forte in your style are your defensive skills and, well, your resourcefulness? Would you think that that's your strength more than your conversion skills?
No, definitely not a strength. I mean, I have improved my defensive skills a lot throughout the years. Let's say myself in 2012 was an awful defender. So many examples of poor defense. I've improved that a lot. I think that was one of the main differences why I've grown from the player I was then to where I am now. But there are so many players who are better at this at defense than me. Fabiano is fantastic usually. I mean, Fabiano is 99% of the time a great defender. Karyakin in good shape is a fantastic defender, and Hikaru is a tremendous defender. That has, I mean, it is also very easy to explain. In general, not in a single game, but in general, I have a better opening preparation. So that ensures that I don't have so many bad positions, which ensures that I lack practice in them, which ensures that my defensive skills are not so good.
I lost you at the first ensure.
Yes, basically my favorite player is Vidit Gujarati.
Okay, just seriously, do you think your conversion skills are better or your resourcefulness? If you had to pick one, which one is your better skill?
No, these two things are so hard, being resourceful and converging. These two things are the things that I should be working on and the things that I don't do well, because these are the hardest things in chess that everybody doesn't do well. My best skills are probably building up small advantage to a bigger advantage. I think I do that very well usually. And yeah, I can, of course, sometimes if I am in a familiar opening position, I can play the opening middle game phase very, very well. I can play very good endgame too. This converting, both conversion and resourcefulness, these are not my main things, but these are also quite hard.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. So what you're basically saying is that your best skill is your sense of humor.
Correct.
All right.
I think I should take you to every of my Q&A to make it much more, much easier and more painless.
Okay, Anish, I am Divis wants he's an I am, and Divis is his user is his member name, and he says, "Hi Anish, if you had to choose." Oh, that's a great question, Divis. If you had to choose one top 10 player to care for your son one day, which player would you choose?
Okay, wonderful question. Let me see. Okay, I think I know. But let me just check. I will check the live rating list.
Okay.
Okay, so Magnus out of the window, not because he's a bad guy. I believe he would be good with kids. I mean, not good. He would be good-natured. He would want to do good for my child, but he's just too absent-minded. He might lose concentration, and that's it. Fabi is a no. Ding, I don't know. Okay, this is also no.
Fabi
Maxim
is a
also
no. That's interesting.
No, Fabi. I mean, where's Anish child? Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. So Fabi is no.
Okay.
Ding is a, I don't know, Ding. Ding could be a dark horse. Ding could be great.
But then they might have a language problem a little bit, no? He might not be
my son is used to language problems. He's, mixed family, Holland. His Dutch is on its way up. His English is also not there yet, 100%. He speaks now Russian and Georgian, so he is used to language problems. He will find. Okay. You'll find, but I don't know Ding too well. Okay, Nepo is insane, but to choose that, Vashir.
He's insane. I love it.
No, it's insane to choose Nepo. I don't say he's insane.
Yeah,
but Vashir, okay, you also cannot rely on. Again, a good-natured guy, but just can suddenly forget about something. Okay, Grishuk is very experienced with kids. You would think, but I have a suspicion that it's mostly wife who is doing everything there, so I'm not going to go with that. And okay, my original answer would be Temur, but now that I see Levon in the list,
I think we have a clear winner.
I'm torn between Levon and Temur here. It's hard to say.
You have to pick one. I love this question, Divis. You have to pick one.
Okay, I'll go with Temur.
All right, so Temur Rajabov to take care of Danny for a day. Got it. I just love how you said that Maxime and Fabi will just forget that there's another human in the room.
Yeah, no, I mean, Maxime, starts to, something pops up on his laptop, some kind of website, and he already all forgot, and he's like, oh yeah, Anish's son. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's going to be all that again. I mean, come on.
Fair enough. Okay, Dr. Awkward's question is, what software do you use to maintain your opening repertoire? Is it only ChessBase or something else?
Oh, good question. It's mostly, to maintain opening repertoire. Yeah, it's ChessBase. Okay. It's, by the way, it's not a perfect program, really not. But it is not easy to build a good one, I guess. But it's what I use. I think it's the best one out there right now for me, especially because I'm used to it. And it's definitely most universal. You get all these files, PGN, CBV sent to you in that format. Everybody uses it. So in that sense, yes. It's Windows, and then everybody runs ChessBase on it. Everybody uses it, so it's the best.
Okay, so ChessBase it is. Next question is by Napoleon, and he's looking forward to your Chessable course on the French defense. Good luck for the rest of the tournament. And his question is...
Great. Yeah.
And his question
Making the French great again. Yeah, he's happy with that. Okay.
His question is that how should a training schedule look like? His rating is, he says, for amateurs between 1800 to 2200 to improve their chess. What should a training schedule look like? How to distribute time efficiently between the different aspects of the game?
Yeah, so honestly, people always want to know, usually they want to know what's the best way to improve because they have little time. And that's also that's the issue. Like, it is hard, let's say, to do something 1 hour a week and improve. It's hard. You need to put in hours. But honestly, whatever you do, like, there is evidence, various top players even, that any particular or any different chess activity will help. And there's evidence for each of them. So I think really whatever best is to do what you like, because then you will be able to put in more hours. So just stick to what you like to do. If you like endgames, do endgames. If you like openings, do openings.
Very nice.
It's just whatever you like.
That's a very nice answer. And I think that's something also what Erwin also has reflected on, that if you work on things that you enjoy doing, you'll put in more hours into the game. Like, don't put yourself through too much.
For sure.
Very nice.
No, it's really, there is no right way. It works for everyone. It's their own recipe.
Okay, and we've got some great questions from Jordi coming in. He sent a couple of them, but let's start with the first one. And I really like his questions. Okay, first question. If given a choice, would you rather be A, more intelligent, B, a better chess player, or C, a more likable person?
Okay, the intelligence gets you nowhere, so I don't want that. What was the second? Better chess player or a likable person? I can fake being a likable person on my own. I don't think I can fake being a better chess player. So I'll take the better chess player, and I will just improve my likability on my own. I think I can fake that with some effort.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, we had Jordi had sent these questions for Peter's Q&A as well. And
Peter, what did you say?
Peter, I think he'd gone with more intelligent.
He lied. Oh, he lied. Okay.
He lied.
Yeah.
You think he wants to be a more likable person?
Obviously. I mean, more of that, please. By the way, I don't know which Peter you talk about, but I think both of them.
Okay, let's do one more question from Jordi's list because they're great questions.
By the way meant as a compliment, obviously, right? It's clear. It's not meant as an insult. The opposite. It's a compliment. What we just said, no, about Peter's.
Of course, because it's like the same thing about. Yeah, that Peter is so well liked, but you know how he always wants to.
Yeah, it's always he's being nicer and nicer every time. So I think he wants to pursue that perfection.
It's impossible to like him any more than that.
No, impossible, exactly.
Okay, this next question is by Jordi. It's the same list. Super questions. Which superpower would you like to have? Quickly, Anish, intuitively.
One, yeah, just one. I was thinking you're gonna give me a choice. Okay, no, what superpower? Okay, read people's thoughts.
Really? Wouldn't that be super annoying to be able to...
No, I can switch it off. I mean, if I want to have it on, have it off, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it could be really damaging to like see somebody's thinking like not good about you and stuff. Would you want to really know all that?
You mean it's a little bit like reading your Twitter? Yeah, but I do that anyway. So I think I like that. I think I like that.
Okay, fine. Given. I'm not given, but understood. All right. The next question is, if there is a magic button that immediately deletes all chess programs and prevents their reappearance forever, would you hit that button? Yes or no? Just yes or no.
No.
All right, fair enough. But
Not confident enough. Yeah.
Okay, this one's nice. Last one from Jordi's list. If you had a time machine, would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
Okay, with future, of course. I mean, you can read about the past. You don't know about the future. We only go to the future.
Very valid point. Okay, but then I think the counter argument to that is that then it just takes away like the fun of finding out the future, but also like there could be a moment in the past that you're really interested in sort of living as well, or no?
Yeah, I heard some people, especially those who study history, for example, they really want to go to the past. I mean,
it doesn't excite you.
It's not enough for them to just study history. They also want to relive it or whatever.
Live it.
I'm really much more curious into the future, really. Yeah.
Okay, back to the future. All right, Van Dragon's next question. Hi, Anish. Do you think you have any real rivalry? And if so, when do you think those rivals started? So I think,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there is rivalry between every top player, for sure. Some are more active, some are less active because you play. Some rivalries are like sleeping. For example, I have a rivalry with, let me take a good example. Julio Granda, for example. I have a rivalry going with Julio Granda that I lost to him twice. And if we are to play tomorrow, we'll pick that up again, I think. As I want to beat him because I think I should be able to, but I lost twice. For example, my rivalry with my current players is much more fresh in my mind because it's much more active. Let's say I played a bunch of games with Magnus, Fabi, with Ding, with Jan. I mean, I play them almost every month, every week, with all these tournaments. mean, definitely there is rivalry going on. The question is, of course, how well you are doing in that rivalry, but I think that there is definitely rivalry there for sure. I mean, with Kramnik, we had a lot of different games, ups and downs, and it sort of stopped when he quit, but now it's back because he again played, so we again played the match, I find that, yeah, for sure. I think there's rivalry between every top players. Yeah. Even if you lose all the games, it's still a rivalry.
And it's kind of healthy to have that because it kind of pushes you to become better and stronger at what you're doing if you've got rivalry, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't mean it as you have to dislike the person. If that was implied in the question, that's not what I meant. No, I meant purely sportive chess rivalry. I mean, I can, for example, be great friends with... I mean, if we play a match with Vidit tomorrow, it's going to be rivalry. I mean, it's nothing to do with friendship or anything. It's separate. It's,
yes, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is by Locatus22, and he says, okay, I'm gonna ask. He's got a two-part question. For years, you've been the undisputed best player in the Netherlands. Can you tell us a bit about the responsibility involved as being the best player in the Netherlands? How do you feel responsible?
Yeah, well, I don't feel much responsibilities, honestly. I'm a little bit disappointed the way chess lives in the Netherlands. I feel it's seriously underperforming in terms of the interest. I mean, I have, for example, the amount of different tags I get on all sorts of social media, news from all over the world, like some kind of Spanish newspapers, some Indian newspapers, I mean, all kinds of American newspapers, and there is very little attention from the Netherlands to chess. The amount of tournaments we have is also not going up very much. We have Vaikanzee tournament, which is tremendous. It's been there for over 70 years, maybe 80. I even don't remember. And but for the rest, there don't seem to be many new ones, and I really don't see the reason for why not. I mean, chess is thriving in countries where it doesn't have to be Norway. Chess is doing much better in States. It's doing great in India. So I really don't understand that. I mean, we have a decent professional life in the Netherlands, chess professional. I mean, there are a few professionals. My friends Erwin and Jordan are doing well. Luke is still sometimes involved in chess. But yes, I mean, when it comes to responsibilities, I mean, my federation supports me, which is absolutely great. They really support me. And I'm always happy to do something back for them as well. We have occasional projects, but I feel that, I don't know if it's to do with mismanagement on some level or with the general, I don't know, maybe mentality of the people or whatever it is. I really don't know, but I think the chess in the Netherlands has to be much higher and much better placed, and my role has to also be bigger. But it just, yeah, I just don't see that. So it's a question I have myself. I really don't know. Don't know that.
Yeah, but also it's probably a thing with the longevity in a career, right? Like where you are at your stage right now, the focus is so much on the chess and actually becoming, well, the
biggest YouTuber of, yeah, definitely.
So then maybe like the biggest YouTuber, and that takes a lot of effort and time. But at some point, maybe like many years later, when you've, got 1 million followers and you finally overtaken with it on YouTube, you can give back to the chess community then.
No, I'm ready to give back. It's just that nobody's asking anything. I'm always ready to give back. I mean, when I get requests for exhibitions or, I don't know, speeches and all sorts of things, I'm always ready to do that.
Yes.
I mean, not always for free, of course, but when it comes to free, for example, I do a few things for free as part of my, well, I probably shouldn't say it, but anyway, in Holland, to promote chess in Holland, I do some of these things for free as well. Not entirely, because of course I do get support from Federation, but anyway, it's not that. It's just I think there is quite limited interest, which I find strange, but I guess it's, I mean, I wouldn't know the reason. One reason is that chess is a tough game. It's hard to learn it and hard to play it well, hard to follow. It's a very difficult game. You need to put in a lot of hours. But at the same time, well, there is more interest in many other countries where chess is just as hard. So I really don't know. I mean, it might also to do with this, some individual. Sometimes, you have the people in particular TV programs, particular news organizations that love chess, and they promote it. And these single individuals make for a change. For example, we saw with YouTube of Vidit, the role that Samay has played in Indian chess. It should not be exaggerated. Should also not be underestimated. He's just the one guy who is not even an enormous celebrity, but he is a relatively big comedian. Is a great guy. Loves chess, and just thanks to his efforts, you've got so many more chess fans coming. And I think that's important that you have these individuals who do that. And I think in Holland we haven't been fortunate with that recently, but it might change any moment. There's definitely culture for that. We have Max Euwe as a world champion, and Jan Timman as also runner-up to world champion. So a lot of chess culture in Holland for sure.
All right, well, hope that changes, because like you said, you're always ready to give back. The second part of Locutus 22's question was, realistically speaking, what do you consider your chance that you will become world champion? Best regards from Leeuwarden. Is that a Dutch? Leeuwarden, is that Dutch?
Leeuwarden. Yeah. It's no, chances are there. You do have to get lucky, that's for sure, regardless who you are. You have to get fortunate to become a world champion, because you have to peak at the right moments, of course. What I know is that if I peak at the right moments, and I believe I'll play the candidates when they resume. Well, if I will peak there and I play candidates the way I played, for example, the Chessable Masters tournament, for lack of a better example, or I don't know, or the way I played the Shenzhen Masters tournament, if I get to that level of chess, which I'm capable of, at the candidates tournament, I will qualify to the match. And then if I once again get to that level and get the preparation the World Championship match deserves, I think I can take on Magnus. And I mean, the thing with the World Championship match, obviously Magnus is a better player than all of the others right now. But the amount of compensation preparation can do is just so huge right now that I think that with the right approach and right preparation, I think I can feel confident in the match against anyone. But you need to qualify first, and I think I have chances. I don't know what they are mathematically speaking, but I mean, I have better chances than most people on Earth, that's for sure.
I couldn't agree more with that. And you're not the only one to believe in yourself. The Anish army is extremely, do not underestimate the Anish army. All right, next question, Anish, is from Ilan Keshet. Again, apologies if I'm getting the pronunciation wrong. And he says, hi, Anish, what do you want to say to all the people out there that say you prefer draws over win? Anish, just one line to the people who say that.
Do you have the bleeping software or not installed?
Go for it. It's anyways a late night after show.
No, but as I said, I mean, if you're going to comment every time any chess player makes a draw or saves a losing position or doesn't win a winning position, I mean, you're gonna comment all day long. Today we saw a bunch of games you can just look up by all the players ruining some advantages here or there, saving some games, making some draws, not making some draws. I mean, yeah, it's really not nothing to do with me. It's just, okay, that's just part of the game. But of course, if you pick one player and you want him to make draws, well, chess is a good game. There will always be, every day, almost every player makes some draws in this tournament because you play 4 games. So yeah, it's nothing really to say here. So
your one line would be that there's
my one line would be the one that you have to bleep, but
okay, fair
that's
enough.
The longer version, yeah.
Okay, the next question is okay. C Tulu is asking, does Giri remember the puzzle that Aronian shared in Vaikanze in 2008, which none had to analyze over the board to find the winning move? In intrepid fashion, Giri quickly looked at it and stated there were multiple solutions, which prompted Aronian to say that he in fact missed a pawn in the position. Do you remember that incident?
That couldn't have been true because in 2008, I haven't played in Vaikanze, so it must have been 2009.
Possibly. Okay, but do you remember
Yes.
this incident? I'm going to take that as a no.
How many times I was misled by Levon Aronian? I cannot remember all of these times. Yeah.
All right. The next question is
one of my favorite chess interactions when it comes to my childhood and memories and top players. And there's a picture of that is how during a Hochfein tournament when I was little, I played. Ivanchuk was also playing in the tournament, and at some point we were in the press room, and there is like their laptops, and somebody sent him a puzzle, a friend of his. So he logged in on his email, got that puzzle, and there was no space on the tables because they were all busy with the computers. So he set up a chessboard on the floor with that position, sat on the floor, and started to think about the, like how he always does with the about the position on the floor. And there's a picture of that, and that's completely epic. And also he's wearing something funny, I guess, as usual. It looks really great.
Okay, I'm loving this next one. I'm going to bring that up. And it's by Tatev Abrahamian. You know Tatev, right, Anish?
I do, yeah.
So Tatev wants to know, Anish, can you name all the Kardashians?
Oh, I heard that. I'm an active Instagram user. So yes, I cannot name all of them, but
let's try. Let's go.
I know. Okay, the most famous is Kim Kardashian, I think. Then you have also
10 seconds.
Kendall or something like this. Chloe, I think you have.
Correct.
I cannot name all, but I mean, I don't know what they do or who they are, but I just know these names. Yeah, but there were more. I saw on my Instagram there were more, but these are the famous ones. I think this Kendall, Chloe, and Kim are the most famous ones.
That's not bad at all. And yeah, nobody's buying that. We all know that you follow all the Kardashians on Instagram.
Oopsie.
Okay, the next question is
honestly, by the way, I follow a bunch of cool people on Instagram. Like, for example, I follow different celebrities. I do that not because I am like stalking celebrities, but because I want to see how big Instagram accounts and how they are handling their Instagram, how they're like my Instagram role models. I'm just trying to learn from them a little bit, not copy them, but just to see different ways of doing it. So I could have been following a Kardashian. I do not. I could have been following her if she has a huge account, just to see, how she does it, what kind of things she posts and what kind of response she does. Just
from it.
Yeah, maybe learn or choose not to learn, depends what you see.
It would be really interesting if you started posting the kind of content that the Kardashians post. I think we would
pretty surely that would be quite interesting. I think my Instagram account is interesting enough as it is. It is already slightly out of my comfort zone. I think we should not go much further.
Okay, who's your Instagram role model? Quickly. This is not a premium member question. This is just...
It's a good one. You know what? I'm going to use this question as a something positive. So from people I know, I think Sagar Shah is doing a great job as Chess Base India. He's doing a great job. At first, I was into Kevin Hart's Instagram account. I thought it was hilarious, all the vlogs and stuff he posts. And I, for some reason, follow Ariana Grande. I haven't unfollowed her, but she just keeps posting this weird black and white pics all the time, and they get like millions of likes. I don't know how and why. And they are like, and that's really all she does. But I still follow. I never liked her picture, but like, I follow some few of these random people, but mostly Chess Base India and Sagar Shah. That's my answer.
All right. Next question is by Crypto, and he says, "Hi Anish, why are you so snappy with your comments against Magnus? Is it your humor?"
No, I'm not snappy. I almost never start any conversation that way. I usually respond. So if you take my response without his question or without his remark, if you take that out of context, it looks perhaps snappy. But it's a response, and usually it's usually he says something very angry or very emotional, and I'm just trying to bring the tension down by responding, at the same time trying to drop the level of the heat a little bit. That's usually how I see it. But of course, if you see that remark alone without the context, it looks sometimes quite snappy. Yeah.
All right, fair enough, Anish. Next question is by Anish. I know we're kind of exceeding the Q&A time, but do you think you could maybe answer just a couple more questions?
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
I've been talking too much also. A few of these times when I should have said Sopiko and Vidit, I just wasted there 20 minutes. That was a big waste.
It was the most important question that had to be addressed. So let's go on to the next one. It's from You Mutulu 123346666040. Can you repeat that, Anish?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 6, 6. No, I don't remember.
Okay.
If I had known. Was that a question? Can you repeat that?
That was the question. So he says, what is your favorite sport except chess?
Table tennis. When it comes to playing, yeah, not watching. No, watching is too boring. It's like, I think it's like, I hope it's not like chess. I mean, top level table tennis is way too boring to watch. No, I mean, just only this like non-stop the technique and just going back and forth. While playing it, on my low level, I find it really a lot of fun. And when it comes to watching, yeah, I do follow the big football. I mean, not this nonsense that Magnus is watching now, but the World Cup and no, I'm kidding. But I actually don't follow the Premier League or any leagues for that matter. But I do follow national championship because then I feel connected to some countries and I have something to root for.
What do you think your table tennis rating would be, Anish?
1200. Trying to get 1300.
That sounds like Samay at chess.
This is what I was going for. That's exactly what I was going for. You saw it right through me. I just imagined, yes, Samay also loves chess. He's also not yet there. This is the same with my table tennis.
Okay. Daddy Cool wants to know, you played for Netherlands since 2008. Why the Netherlands? You could have chosen to be French and join the team of Fres and enjoy the baguettes and the wine.
Well, that's not how it works. I've never chosen a country to represent. And the baguette offer does sound very interesting. But basically, we moved to Holland because of my father's job. That's why we moved. It had never to do with my chess. That said, I was very fortunate that once we did move to Holland, it proved to be a very fertile ground for chess. The national coach was Vladimir Chushilov. We had a great click with him. He really helped me tremendously. And also the federation supported me financially with these trainings and so on. So we landed here because of my father's job, but it really worked out in chess as well. I'm really not sure. Imagine if I landed in France and I would have to get some lessons from Fressinet. What would have happened to me as a player? I just wouldn't want to know.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just reading in the chat. Someone's written, maybe Anish could beat Tanya in chess boxing.
And Tanya is like, no, not in a million years. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's move on to the next one. Where was I? Yeah. Okay, so the baguettes and the wine. So what you're saying is that you don't choose the baguettes or the wine. The baguettes and the wine choose you. And that didn't happen, so you're playing for the Netherlands.
Exactly. They've never chosen me. Yes, correct.
Okay, the next question is by Kieran Murphy. And
by the way, don't drink any alcohol at all. I do like the occasional baguette. So yes.
Okay. So, okay. I didn't know that. So you don't drink at all, Anish? Like no wine, nothing.
No.
So then France is not your country.
I know.
Okay. Karen Murphy says, in Armageddon, have they got the time allowance right for white and black? Your opinion on this? Just the Armageddon format. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think probably it's all right. Yeah.
Okay. You mean like 1 minute?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it sort of makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, I think we have to wrap up really, really soon, but we'll just probably get another because there are so many questions coming in for you, Anish, and I think I can't take them all. And you've also had a really long day, but let me just bring up one or two more. Okay, by Iniguto, and Iniguto says, hi Anish, do you think that talents like Firouzja, Zong or Esipienko will be in the top 10 shortly, or they could become world champs?
Well, you're taking them all at once. I mean, each of them are separate players and going at a different pace. I believe Firouzja is going way faster than Esipienko, for example. I mean, Firouzja is already 27-20, and he's like 16, I believe, or something. Yeah, well, as you've seen, these are very difficult steps to make. Wei has made it very far as a young kid, but he hasn't still made the step to the top 10. He might make it later, but he hasn't made it yet. So the step to top 10 and also the step from top 10 to world champion, that is something that I'm currently struggling with as well. It's not easy at all. You need to be lucky there. While you also have people like Kasparov or to some extent Magnus who just went straight into it. Maybe that will happen with Firuza, for example. I mean, but hard to say. It's not only up to you, it's also up to circumstances. And, even I'm sure even Kasparov and Carlsen, I mean, they're particularly gifted, but I'm sure here and there, some games finished in the right way to give them just that extra lessons they needed or that extra push they needed. And you have to be fortunate. But as it goes right now, Firuza is by far the fastest growing talent, I guess, right?
Yeah, especially with the way the last year before the lockdown and
yeah,
everything.
I mean, it would be kind of surprising if he wouldn't make it to top 10, let's say, in a few years. That would be surprising. I mean, given how fast he's rising. But then again, we have the Wei who hasn't yet made it either. So who knows?
Who knows? All right, Anish, I want to thank you for your time, and I'm going to close the Q&A, even though we've got questions still coming in, but I know you've been really kind to give us more time than you had to. So thank you for that. Before you go, can I just ask you, tomorrow you're playing against Ding, your thoughts on the matchup and just what you're looking forward to tomorrow?
Let me see if that's the case. I don't believe you.
There's no trust here, huh?
Not at all. By the way, I just saw your, wanted to comment a little bit on your stream here, guys. Because, I'm currently a big streamer also. And I wanted to give my feedback on your stream, if you would want to know.
On chess24?
Yeah. Can I give that or not?
On YouTube or on Twitch?
Yeah, on YouTube in particular. Because it's where, I played it. Yeah, so I feel it is going a little too smoothly, and there is lack of technical issues, which makes for a stream to be slightly uninteresting. The layout is far too nice. It's all cropped pretty nicely. There is no lag. The sound is working. It just lacks that extra thing that that other modern streamers have.
What's your pro tip for us to make it as big as the Anish Giri channel? Yeah,
you somehow all this, like, look at how neat it is. Even like your name tab and mine, they are like identical and they're cropped so nicely. Like somebody was there with a ruler. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just chill out. It's just a YouTube stream.
Do you think it's too perfect?
Yeah, and they even have like, it's way too, it's all symmetrical probably as well and measured from left, from right. I mean, and there is a banner and it's all like, it's all too pretty, far too pretty and far too little. There's no boomer content at all. I mean, you lose already 1,000 viewers because of the boomer content. I mean, when I have boomer content, already I get an extra 1,000 viewers.
What the hell is boomer content?
Okay, you clearly haven't seen my my streams. But okay, you guys have still a lot to learn. You're new to the game, it's okay. So speaking of Ding, what would you like to know about Ding?
Okay, so basically with that question about boomer content, you're like, there's no hope for this. I'm giving up on improving their stream.
No, you don't really get it. I mean, it is a little bit old-fashioned, all this cropping and this nice. It's a bit. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that it needs to be more fun and more like.
No, not fun. No, fun. It's all fun. Your stream is fantastic. I mean, the humor that Jan.
I mean, the content is basically you guys playing chess.
Yeah. No, the content is great, and you guys are hilarious. But it lacks a few things, and boomer content is one of them.
Okay, we're gonna Google boomer content right after this show, Anish. But just to wrap it up, your thoughts on tomorrow's match with Ding?
I've been playing so many legends. Tomorrow I have to, play again my back to reality to an extent. My, contemporary, whatever they call that. We are of similar age, at least with Ding. Yeah, I'm always big challenge. Ding is always a big challenge. He hasn't been doing that great in this event, but I believe a player like him is always very dangerous. Honestly, I approach all my games here quite similar. I just prepare a little bit for the, make some, prepare for the openings a little bit, some general strategy plans and all, and facing the opponents. Don't particularly fear or feel confident before any round. So I'm just looking forward, and it's going to be fun. I mean, no, in this tournament there's no boring pairing, no boring round. Every player is there for a reason. It's all good.
I mean, Ding's been having a really rough tournament so far, no? I mean, do you think it's exhausting?
Yeah, but I'm kind of not buying it. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing not so bad. It just doesn't work for him, no? I mean, for example, the match with Kramnik, like, how is possible that the guy blunders you 2 rooks and somehow still is not enough to win, you know, the match?
Yeah.
And today also it was like he played not bad, no, against Magnus. It's just that he got caught and then didn't react. He reacted logically, but just not very. I mean, it's been a bit, especially with Ding, I feel he's pretty stable and reliable player, you know? He always calculates, he always does his thing. Sometimes he does badly, but it's not like he's never an easy pairing.
All right. And because of your advice on YouTube, I actually went on YouTube on our stream, Anish, and I'm checking out the chat, and everybody's just basically saying that I didn't get the boomer thing and I am boomer and I'm not sure what's going on.
No. You are not the boomer if you don't get the boomer thing. It's not how boomership works. I mean, you have to earn your boomership.
Oh,
but seriously, I have a lot of experience with this by now. I'm also joining Temur streams and all. Really, like I came today to his stream. So first of all, he was not there. He was just not there. There was nothing. There was some badly cropped chess24 window, and nothing, nobody. There were I don't know, 5 times the viewership of this. And then he came back, started to crop everyone, and like seriously, all this croppings is just not the way to go. Not the way to go.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna pass this the video will be seen by the technical team.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it goes wrong. You have a technical team. I mean, you have probably 3 people responsible for cropping these tabs. Probably there is one guy cropping, the other guy checking, and the third guy is giving a stamp, right?
All right, Anish, all this YouTube chat, I still don't get it because I'm not a pro streamer like you. And maybe, hopefully, I'll get there one day. Just to let the chat know that, yes, we do follow chat and but connect with us using the hashtag ChessLegends. It's just easier there. Anish, thank you so much for your time. And you are an absolute blast to have an interview with because you're just awesome. And
thank you very much.
Wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks. It was fun. Good night.
Try brushing your teeth with the opposite hand of what you would normally use. If it's too easy, you can also balance on one leg at the same time. When you break even the simple routines, you can challenge your brain to strengthen underused nerve cells.
I believe in curiosity and never stop challenging myself. Technology has come a long way. Still, nothing beats the capabilities of the human brain.
At Merck, we believe that
Yeah, no, but it's of course it is of course